Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we are exploring a tool that is quite literally redefining the developer workflow. Just imagine having a highly capable, relentlessly fast junior developer living right inside your terminal. One that's ready to read your codebase, scaffold entire projects, and debug errors completely autonomously. Well, that is exactly what Claude Code offers. This isn't just some fancy autocomplete tool in your IDE. It's a fully autonomous agent that operates directly in your command line. It can run tests, analyze your logs, and execute really complex multi-file tasks. So let's explore exactly how to get this powerhouse up and running on your local machine.
Okay, let's dive into our Zero to Hero roadmap for today. We're going to cover local installation, OS-specific authentication, customizing your CLAUDE.md file, automated tests and CI/CD, troubleshooting log errors, and we'll wrap up with a handy command cheat sheet. So, are you ready to hire an autonomous AI pair programmer? Because honestly, getting this configured correctly will completely banish boilerplate coding from your life for good. Think about those things that used to take you days, like scaffolding a new React app with full authentication or wiring up a Python Flask backend completely from scratch. Those can now be done in minutes. But to get those magical results, we first have to get it properly installed and configured. All right, Section 1, Local Installation. Let's look at the prerequisites and setup. Now, if you're familiar with NPM, this part is incredibly straightforward. Step 1, you just need to make sure you have Node.js version 18 or newer installed on your machine. Once your Node environment is ready, Step 2 is executing the installation command. You're just going to run npm install-g at Anthropic-AI/Claude Code. And hey, that -G flag, it's absolutely crucial. It stands for global, meaning we don't just want Claude sitting in a single project folder. We want this agent available anywhere on your hard drive. Once those packages finish downloading, Step 3 is literally just typing Claude into your terminal and hitting enter. Moving right along to Section 2, OS-specific authentication. Now, what's really interesting here, and you'll want to pay attention to this so you don't get stuck, is that the authentication handshake happens a bit differently depending on your system. If you're on a Mac or a native OS environment, typing Claude is automatically going to pop open a browser window. You just click Authorize, and boom, you're connected to your Anthropic account. However, if you are running Windows subsystem for Linux, or maybe you're SSHing into a remote Linux server like a EC2 instance, well, it physically cannot pop open a browser. In those cases, Claude will print an authorization URL directly right there in the terminal. You just have to manually copy that URL, paste it into your local browser, authorize it, and then paste the code it gives you back into the terminal. Knowing this little quirk ensures you aren't sitting there waiting for a browser window that is literally never going to open. Okay, Section 3, Customizing Claude.md. An AI agent is ultimately only as good as the context you provide it. Without guidance, it's basically just guessing. And this is exactly where the Claude.md file comes in. It's essentially a memory file, providing project-specific instructions and context that Claude automatically loads up every single time you start a session in that directory. You generate this file super easily just by running the /init command. When you do that, Claude actually scans your repository, looks at your setup files, and tries to figure out exactly what kind of application you're building. So let's look at exactly what gets auto-generated inside that memory file. It establishes your custom agent behaviors. It notes your exact environment versions like Python 3.12 or Node 20. It records instructions on how to run your main scripts, which linting tools you prefer, like Flake8 or Black, how to run your automated tests, and your basic architectural guidelines. Setting this up is a total game changer because it prevents Claude from having to guess your architecture every time you log in. It reads the file and instantly knows the rules of engagement. Section 4, Automated Tests and CI/CD. Let's talk about production architecture. This is where Claude's autonomous nature truly shines, and where you get a massive advantage in your workflow. When you ask it to make your project production ready, it doesn't just hand you a snippet of code. No, it generates a full to-do list and literally starts executing it. It'll autonomously write your complete configuration files to make it a publishable package. It scaffolds automated unit tests using PyTest to achieve up to 99% code coverage, which is huge. It even adds robust GitHub workflows for your CI/CD pipelines and writes your README documentation. It runs the bash commands, tests its own code, reads the error logs, and fixes its own mistakes until the tests pass. It's incredible. So the golden rule here is captured perfectly in this quote from the source material. Be as specific as you would with another engineer for best results. This is absolutely crucial when prompting Claude Code for complex tasks like generating a CI/CD pipeline. Don't just type, add tests. Instead, try something like create a set of unit tests using PyTest, utilizing mock data to test that these specific endpoints return the correct JSON structure. If you treat Claude like an intelligent colleague who just needs clear instructions, the output is breathtakingly accurate. All right, Section 5, Troubleshooting Errors. Let's overcome some roadblocks.
Okay, we've all been there. Have you ever tried an npm global install and immediately been hit with that giant wall of red text screaming permission denied? The source material highlights this as a highly common roadblock, specifically on Ubuntu and AWS EC2 instances when you're trying to install the Claude package globally. The system just flat out rejects the operation because you don't have the permissions to write to the local node modules. Now, instinctively, a lot of us will just hit the up arrow, type sudo, and try to force the installation through as an administrator. But Anthropic explicitly warns against this. Do not use sudo npm install-g. Actually, seriously, don't do it. If you bypass this permission error with sudo, you are going to create severe cascading permission issues for your node environment down the line. It is highly, highly discouraged. And this brilliantly illustrates why there's a manual binary installation workaround. If npm fails you on a Linux server, just do this instead. Step 1, make sure you have curl and git installed. Step 2, run the provided curl command. It securely pulls the native installer directly from Anthropic and pipes it into bash, completely bypassing that annoying npm permission block. Then, step 3, just restart your terminal, type Claude, and your agent is ready to go. It's an absolute lifesaver. Finally, Section 6, our command cheat sheet. Here is a highly actionable, easily screenshotable summary of the everyday commands you are going to rely on. We've talked about simply typing Claude to start the agent, and init to generate that vital memory file. But definitely pay special attention to Claude terminal setup. If you run this inside an IDE like VS Code, it seamlessly integrates Claude directly into your environment, binding it to a shortcut like Shift+Enter. And lastly, Claude config list is your go-to command for viewing all your environment configurations, themes, and tool permissions in one spot. So your AI teammate is now installed, fully configured, with its memory file and eagerly waiting in your terminal. You know how to bypass the permission blocks, and you know exactly how to command it to write full CI/CD pipelines. The only question left is, what are you going to build together first? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this walkthrough empowers you to open up your terminal and start coding at a completely new level of speed. See you next time.